The 9 Years Podcast.
All right, I'd like to say thank you for hitting the download button on the latest edition of the 9 Years Podcast. Suppose we do have a bit of an apology to make, Stu. We don't normally broadcast, the show or start recording without really figuring out what we want to talk about this week. But what do we want to talk about?
Well, I suppose there's only probably one subject that everyone wants to talk about. Yeah, I didn't do any scripts, because I'm absolutely shattered. Like many Wimbledon fans who travelled or didn't travel. But yeah, there's only one thing to talk about, isn't it? And it's our trip to Wembley Monday week.
Yeah, we're going to what? Huh? We're going to what? I thought we were going to talk about the wrestling this weekend. The WWE big show on Sunday. We're going to preview that, aren't we? Wembley? What?
Nick, only you could get confused between the W's, couldn't you? Do you know what I mean? Between the wrestling and the Wembleys. No, we are discussing Wembley, an appearance, chance for promotion. Great way to finish the season.
Yeah, maybe there's a few W words that some listeners are thinking of calling me right now, but of course, there's only one thing to talk about this week, and there's loads to say about the two-legged semi-final with Accrington Stanley, the 1-0 victory in the first leg at Kingsmeadow, and then the 2-2 draw that saw us through after extra time on Wednesday night. And we're not just going to be talking about what happened on the pitch. There's lots of little things that fans have been discussing over the course of the past week we're going to touch on. We'll also do all the usual as well. Don't worry, we have birthdays to do. We have stickers to do as well, but we're not going to waste any time, are we, Stu? Well, I say that. I will just say, listeners, if I'm not sounding particularly great, it's because I'm not feeling particularly great. It's been a week from hell for me personally, and Stu as well is still recovering from his long trip up to Lancashire, I should say, and then back again, obviously. What time did you arrive back in, well, I'll say South London. Of course, you're a little bit further south than most that were listening, but what time did you get back home, shall we say, after the second leg on Wednesday night?
Yeah, to be fair, we didn't leave straight after the final whistle. I very much just wanted to go around and see the team coach. Obviously,
that sounds really boring, Stu. It's just a
vehicle
with lots of wheels.
I say run onto the pitch. I walked onto the pitch. I sort of ummed and ahed, thinking that I'm doing a podcast now and I can't really be nicked for being on the pitch. But when there was about 400 or 500 people on there, I thought, well, they're not going to just nick me. So I went on the pitch.
But Stu, if those 500 people threw themselves under a bus, you wouldn't. Sorry, that's the teacher in me coming out. Sorry, go on. Of course.
But I just thought, being a responsible person I am doing a podcast, but once that sort of like, I'll go on. It was great celebrations. Then we sort of headed around to the team coach, and like I say, not name dropping, but obviously I get on well with Trev and Robin and a few of the people at the back row. So it was really, really nice just to be able to celebrate with them. And then we just waited for the players to come out. And to be fair, they wouldn't. I wouldn't say they were, jumping over. Well, what's the expression? Jumping over the moon. Is that an expression? No, it's not.
They weren't over the moon. They weren't
over the moon. That's the word, isn't it? You tell the time.
I can't think of what else it could be.
Yeah, but they weren't. But they definitely were. They were happy. But you can very much see that this was not a job done. This was Wembley achieved. Final hurdle. I got back indoors about 6ish. Actually, we probably could have been back in by about 5, but we decided to get stop into a 24-hour Tesco because we didn't want to go out today, and also we thought we'd wait for the McDonald's breakfast to start because I was going to come back and watch the rerun of the game, and I did, so I've not slept much today.
I must admit, part of my issue right now, recording the show, is my lack of sleep last night, having not even gone to Accrington, but the buzz coming off of it with a ridiculously early start as well. It was very, very difficult to sleep last night. It's like the old-fashioned the child in me, I should say, well, that does sound a bit dodgy, but you know what I mean. Or the old adverts when they're going to Disney World where it's just like, I can't sleep because I'm too excited. That's exactly the feeling it is, and we are going to Wembley. In terms of, let's talk about the second leg first. Obviously, it was vitally important, as of course it was, that we got the first leg win with the injury time goal. But I think there was a key turning point in the tie as a whole at the Wham Stadium, which was Adebayo Akinfenwa's goal. We had gone 2-0 down on the night. We were 2-1 down on aggregate, but it seemed to me that we got a goal pretty much out of nowhere. We looked pretty much dead to me at 2-0 down. I could not see, I commented at the time, I couldn't see us getting back into it. I thought the tie had gone. We got a goal. We were aided somewhat by some sloppy Accrington defending, it must be said, in the build-up to it. They didn't clear the lines properly. Once we got that goal, it seemed to be yet another psychological blow to Accrington, following on from missing out on automatic promotion in the Farms A, then an injury time winner we got in the first leg, and this goal, when they'd sort of got themselves ahead and then we pulled them back in to level the tie, it seemed to be, again, one step too far for them, and they couldn't respond.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? Because there were turning points in the game. The tempo, obviously, everyone's watching it on TV, so we all see the same thing. But one thing that struck me being there was the tempo that they played at. They played at an almighty tempo, which you expect them to. But also, I feel that we are one of the fittest teams in the league, and you just wonder whether they could keep that tempo going. And I think adrenaline kept them going for most of it. If you look at, you could argue that we probably done the perfect game plan up until Rigg switched off from a foul, which was a smart. Looking back at it, I was really, really annoyed with Rigg, but looking back at it, one, I think it's a foul throw, to be fair, which seems to be creeping into the game, these foul throws. But it was just very well spotted out by the thrower. But the second goal just come out of nothing. You could argue. I think it's very easy sometimes to argue, but one thing that Lyle says is there's no blame culture. You're not going to hold against people, and I think that's the right way to go about it. Bartram got caught on the halfway line, dilly-dallying. But to be fair, to expect the guy to shoot from there and then to swerve so far out, Roos was caught out of position. It kept swerving away from him, but he was caught out. The adrenaline just kept him going. But my only concern at that time, I thought we were in trouble. I must admit, I thought we were in serious trouble then. My concern was that the gaps between the lines was too big. Our midfield, defence and forwards were just too far apart, and we couldn't win the second balls. But Barry Fuller, as he does, stood some cross up for Bayo to just be all over Pearson, which was satisfying because Pearson's not one of my favourite players. He's a bit of a can't really swear on here, but I don't really like him too much.
I think you did well to hold back from swearing. I felt that something was forming in your mouth then.
He just got an attitude. For the first leg, he had the attitude as well. So I was pleased that Bayo flattened him for the first goal.
How important was Akinfenwa on the tie as a whole? He definitely changed the game for us in the first leg. He was unplayable in the first leg, I thought. Second leg, obviously we're talking about getting the goal and it was a pivotal moment in the tie. Second leg, I felt that the referee wasn't as accommodating towards Bayo as perhaps the referee in the first leg was. Couldn't exert the same influence, but he got the goal. Was he the key man over the two legs for us?
Yeah, I think it was. I think he, in terms of the key man, it's difficult, isn't it? Because as a squad, Tom Beers winner and Jay Reeves run and so forth. I think pivotal moments are what down to Bayo. I think the first leg, Bayo done a lot of damage in the first leg psychologically because he beat up Hughes and Davis for 20 minutes. And I would say that they were probably, when they saw the team sheet on Wednesday night, they probably did breathe a sigh of relief that he wasn't playing because he had beaten them up, a couple of days previously. So even though the referee didn't give as much as the previous referee did on the first leg, I think psychologically them two knew all of a sudden they were in for a battle, and whether they dropped, whether they didn't do the things that they were doing so easy against Tom Elliott in the first half, Bayo, even though he got some free kicks against him, but he kept his cool, gradually started bringing players into play. And what actually happened was that you had people like Jay Reeves, Danny Bullman, Sean Rigg gamble a bit more of getting closer to Bayo because they actually knew he was going to keep it, where in the first half Tom just couldn't get any control in the first half.
I mean, it's all's well that ends well. Were you surprised that Bayo didn't actually start the second leg?
Yeah, I wanted him to, but do you know what? I think he got his stuff. I think he got his stuff perfect because Bayo at the end of that extra time was proper, just blow the whistle now. He played, what did he play? 75 minutes hadn't he played? That's probably enough for Bayo. I think that's as much as Bayo can be effective. It didn't work for Tom and Lyle. We've got an interesting selection for Wembley because I don't think I'll start with Bayo, but Tom's an interesting one because if he doesn't keep the ball, he doesn't do much else. He needs the ball. He needs to get flick-ons. So we've got some interesting decisions. Big pitch. Bayo, there's no way Bayo can play a whole game at Wembley. We'll be carrying him off. Well, quite a few of us will be carrying him off, to say. But,
a number of us, yeah.
But yeah, I just think, do you know what, Bayo, I've been on here, and I'm not alone in that. Yeah, I've been Bayo's biggest critic, but I can't say enough good things about Bayo in the last couple of weeks. And for anyone who saw the Sky Sports interview with Bayo and Lyle Taylor, if they don't see what Bayo's done behind the scenes, they'd never see it. Bayo's been a great squad person this year, which is not something he's known for.
Well, it's strange that to me because it seems to me that there's a spine of players running through that team that's really helped bring this squad together, and Bayo has obviously been key in that. I mean, there are others, of course, and we are talking about sort of the more experienced professionals. Like we've always said all year, like when you have a spine with the experience of Barry Fuller as your captain, and Paul Robinson and Danny Borman, these are players and personalities that are going to lead by example. But also you bring that all together and away from the pitch, they're going to make sure the squad and the team are together. And it does have that old, and I don't want to use this cliche, you mentioned the Sky coverage, of which we will talk about a lot as well. But it is that crazy gang cliche, isn't it? It seems to be this squad has that about them. And that's what's got us to Wembley, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. And I think what I like the most about this team at the moment is, and it's not just since Darius come in, I think Darius was just the final piece in the jigsaw. I don't think it's just him coming in that's done it, but we've got players that just don't hide. You know, Jake Reeves is not what you would class a Paul Robinson character where he gets his headers in, but Jake never hides. When it's going against him and he's done a foul pass or he's been overrun in midfield, some players would just hide and think, you know, I'm being done here. But Jake doesn't. Jake keeps going on. And there was times that the second game last night that he was chasing shadows with Danny Borman because they switched the ball so well. But actually, when the fitness told and we got on top, Jake still had the confidence to get the ball. Robbo and Darius never hid. Billy Key gave them a hell of a time this day. And Barry Fuller, just immense. The guy never looks like he's struggling. He had a real difficult task in Windass when they stuck him out wide left. But as we all know, a one-on-one defender, Barry's your man. But he was just immense. And the ball he stood up for Bayo was just was brilliant.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had the two goal scorers in Akinfenwa and Lyle Taylor, but Fuller for the first goal and Jake Reeves for the second were just absolutely instrumental. Do you know what? There's so much to talk about. I feel like we're going to go on a massive stream of consciousness in a lot of regards. I was just sitting here thinking about Jake Reeves and sitting here thinking that if you were to swap the first letter of his first name and his surname, his name would be Rake Jeeves, which is like an instruction for some sort of butler. But anyway, also, Barry Fuller. Was Barry Fuller lucky to be on the pitch, though, after a certain challenge against substitute? Was it Raymond Boku?
It was Boku. To be fair, Boku didn't want to know anything after that, but he was too busy counting his teeth.
He was, can I just say on that score, like, I noticed a few tweets that came through at the time of it, which were coming live from the ground, and obviously couldn't perhaps see it as well in the stadium. On TV, it was obviously quite clear what we'd seen, and Boku was visibly shaken, literally shaking as he was checking with his fingers, counting the number of teeth he had. And it did take him out of the game a little bit, but I'm still of the opinion with Barry, when I first watched it, and having watched it since, his eyes, for me, are always looking at the ball, and I think his arm goes up as a form of protection, because he knows he's going in with his head. He knows he's likely to have a clash of heads because of the way the ball's bouncing, and it's not malicious or anything at all like that. He's just put his arm up to protect himself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, let's be fair, if it was anyone else, you know, if it was one of their players, we'd be saying it's a straight red, and I think it was a straight red. But yeah, I wouldn't say there was intent. He didn't, you know, yes, he levelled his elbow, but he didn't actually, you know, make a forward motion with his elbow to sort of really strike, which, to be fair, Billy Key did in the first half against Darius. But yeah, it's a sending off. We know Barry. We know he's not that sort of player. So we'll go to defensive. He's not that player. He's fully committed. He's got it wrong. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, he got away with it. You know, the referee didn't give us much on the whole evening. I know Sky said they thought he played really well. The referee. I would tend to disagree. I think
I disagree entirely.
I would tend to disagree from a Wimbledon point of view. I don't think he had a great game. But ultimately, we got away with it. And Boku didn't want to know anything. And I was worried when he came on. I was like, oh, okay, we've got to really manage him. And in the end, he didn't want to go anywhere near Barry Fuller. Do you know what I mean? As if he has some sort of plague, which you can understand.
You can understand. Also, Barry Fuller, if you swap his initials around, he becomes Farry Buller. Anyway.
You can tell you need more sleep, can't you?
You know what, that probably is the reason for this. I do need a lot more sleep. I think that is fair to say. Yes, the referee was, in my opinion, watching from TV and having the benefit of a lot of replays and things like that, we conceded some ridiculous amount of fouls in comparison to our opponents. We weren't getting a lot, to be fair. And again, Akinfenwa, just referees that don't understand the difference between being strong and actually committing a foul.
Do you know what I think did happen, actually, to say that, Nick? And it's something that I was thinking about when I watched the rerun this morning when I got back, is I feel that the manager of Accrington, Johnson, is it Johnson? It is Johnson. I'm using.
And you're saying I need more sleep. Isn't it John Coleman?
John Coleman. Oh, sorry.
Boris Johnson.
How
good would that be, though?
I think John Coleman did exactly what Neil Hardy did after we played Wickham the first time. I think remember we had the cup game when we beat them and they didn't fall for anything. I think John Coleman basically just spoke, and I might be wrong, but my gut feeling is I think he spoke to the referee before the game, said, "Look, you haven't seen the first game. These guys going a bit heavy-handed. Barrow's a bit of he does foul a bit. Just watch out for it." And I think the referee gave, because all the things he gave were roughhouse tactics, which were nothing. If you think about Billy Key was giving it a lot. He elbowed Darius, which I thought should have been a booking. He was backing in, he wasn't jumping, he was doing all the kidology things that in the first half the referee wasn't buying. But I would say probably well done to the Accrington referee. I think he got into the referee's head a little bit. And in the end, we just didn't get away with supposedly roughhouse tactics. Accrington, for all the, and I feel sorry for Accrington, they had a great season. But they fell short. But I think they fell short because they really didn't have that mental edge. And I think we had that.
It is understandable as well, though, to be fair. When you lose out in the last minute, like we said all along, that's exactly what we wanted to happen. We wanted to play the team in the playoffs that would fall out on the last day, preferably in the last few minutes, of missing out of automatic promotion, so they'd fall into the playoffs, and then they'd struggle to lift themselves. And credit to them, to be fair, they did lift themselves. But that final, like I say at the start when we were talking about it, getting back to 2-1 to level the scores when they were ahead, again, I think was just too much for them, and they couldn't respond to that. 23 fouls were awarded against us compared to 9 for Accrington Stanley.
Wow, that's mad, isn't it?
That's an incredible statistic, but also, the shots were pretty much bang level. Possession-wise, we expect Accrington to have a lot more possession. They did in the first game. The first game seemed to reenact itself in the second game in a lot of ways. I felt we got through to half-time in both games, sort of clinging on, making sure we didn't concede. We'd already gone 1-0 down at the second leg. We didn't want to concede another before half-time. But then the substitutions made all the difference. I guess the other sort of players we have to look at, looking ahead to the final, would be maybe Sean Rigg. Does he keep his place in the starting lineup? He has not been great over the 2 games. For me, Andy Barcham hasn't been particularly great either. No,
I agree. Yeah, they're the 2 players that I wanted replacing, I'll be truthful. Sean, it's difficult, Accrington stretch the pitch out. They stretch the pitch out really wide. If you look at every goal kick, they want to play from outwards. They don't want to knock it long, even though they can play that way. They can play with Billy Key, but they want to knock it wide. They want to stretch the pitch. They want to then move you around. So it was difficult to see what we played last night. I think we played a little bit of a diamond sometimes, but we haven't. When you try and say the misses now, the people that we miss massively now are your George Frankens, massively, because George can play a number of roles, but I thought Sean had a lot of work to do. They moved the ball around so much. They did outnumber us in the midfield area. Their fullbacks pushed on, and sometimes, yes, he did get caught. I think Sean's a difficult one, isn't it? I think I don't really know how we can change it. You could probably go with, if we're going to, against Plymouth, it'd be interesting how we go against them. Whether we go with a diamond or whether we go to match up with a 4 winger, with wingers against them, because you've got some key matches, you've got some key matchups in that sort of area, because you probably would have Rigg against Wild on the right, and you'd probably have Jervis against Barcham on the other side. So being a wide pitch, and to be fair, we'll do our match preview next week, but there's some interesting battles, and the wide pitch of Wembley, or the supposedly wide pitch of Wembley. Do you go with your wingers? Diamond may leave us a little bit isolated, but we miss George Frankham so much. And, we on here have been very much pro George Frankham. There's been a lot of people that have been against him. I think there was a few people last night who said to me, crikey, we don't half miss George.
Yeah, you do. It's that typical thing. You don't know what you've got until it's gone.
Yeah.
We definitely missed that. As you say, we will talk about the Plymouth the game, the preview of the Wembley final in a little bit. But Tom Beer, how much of a chance does he have getting involved? Bearing in mind he's come into both games and clearly, I say clearly, what a strange word to use, but obviously he was the man that was the hero in the first leg. The composure he showed for that goal was out of this world for me. For a player that hasn't scored for us before, for that in that situation with I don't know how many Accrington players were back in position between him and the goal, just to have that sort of presence of mind, just to calmly roll it in side-footed in that situation. That was not what you expect from a player that's recently been out on loan to a level 7 side. So it a lot of promise for me to be able to do that.
It's interesting, you and I, I go to a lot of under-21s, and I've chatted to you over the seasons about Tom Beer.
Yeah, and I love the under-21s.
But I spoke to you a lot about Tom Beer and the stuff we've got coming through. And one thing I've probably seen now Tom for about 2 seasons now, and one thing I remember that struck me is he's just got great feet in terms of he can ping a pass, he can dribble, and he's got a terrific shot on him. And where we were going from, we weren't getting goals from midfield. We're going back 2 seasons. He wasn't near ready a couple of seasons ago, but we sort of didn't know we had him in a locker. With someone that's got great ability. It's been interesting that they say he probably doesn't refuel well, the old Gaza refueling trick. But there's no doubting his ability, and he's a confident lad. So the goal he scored, yes, it surprised me. However, I have seen him knock balls in from 5 yards like that, from 25 yards, and reportedly he scored a goal at the Southend under-21s, I think the last game of the season. There was a 35-yard top corner job. It was supposed to be out of this world, which is a shame that no one recorded it. But he's got the ability. It's great that we've got someone that's one of our own. We love that saying, but that's what we're doing now. Do you know what I mean? And I was worried that the move to Hampton could be a case of, it had to go one of 2 ways. It had to go one of, Tom, sort of you need to realise what it's like to work in a non-professional environment, but you've got to train, you've got to work hard, play men's football. Or it could have been a case of us just getting rid of him. And it looks to me now, by the faith that Neil's given to him since he come back from Hampton, that he sees him as a player. Tom should have been playing first team games this year. He should have broken into the team. There's no doubt about that. He's got the ability. He's a terrific player. And last night, he come in, first leg, he come in on a playoff first leg and slotted the ball away nicely. And played well before that. And yet last night, he come on to really get the ball, get runs, make a difference. But what a pressure environment that was, and he didn't look it, did he?
No, he felt like he was under no pressure whatsoever. Over the 2 legs, we've already mentioned about Bayo Akinfenwa being a key man. So let's have a look at this man of the match sort of wise. We had our man of the match polls going up on Twitter for both games. Second leg, at the moment, as we're recording, is still technically still open, but it does look like, or it appears, as if Bayo will be picking up that award despite only coming on in the second half. Currently ahead with 34%. Darius Charles, Barry Fuller and Jake Reeves with the other candidates. I mean, let's just talking about the second leg actually whilst we're there. There's so many candidates though, weren't there? I mean, we picked out 4, but in reality, how can you not mention Danny Borman getting around the pitch at 37 years of age?
It's the whole squad. Do you know what? The whole squad, whoever's on the bench, even people on the bench who didn't get on, they've all played their part. Last night was great when you had Jonathan Mead, George Frankham, Kylie Osborne. Kylie Osborne was an interesting one. Still around the scene. I think that tells you a little bit for next season at the moment. But it was so great that they wanted to be there. They were there, and the support. I don't think you could call it. I don't think you could call it last night. There's so many players that over the 2 legs have performed to the levels that we needed them to. And what we expected them to, but they have performed. And we said on this podcast that going into playoffs that we had people that had been in playoffs before. They would be the ones that would lead us, would guide us through. And you can't argue that Barry, Robbo, Darius, and Callum Kennedy. He's been out. Like Bayo, been sitting on the sidelines. In the under-21s, doesn't shy away from going and playing the under-21s. For all we say about Bayo don't get his. Bayo's played one under 21 game this season. When he was coming, I think he was coming back from an injury or something like that. But he played it at home. He didn't go anywhere, travel. Callum's been with the under 21 squad and is not frightened to mix with them. And he's got his rewards. But the experience them guys showed. Last night when I couldn't sit. I was standing on the. So I was sitting on the. Sorry, I was in the seats on the side last night, and I just couldn't.
We'll get there in the end. Yeah.
Couldn't sit down. I had to stand up behind and walk along, and I was just bricking it. Yet those at the back were just calm, did the job, knew what to do, knew what to expect, and I don't think you can single. I wouldn't want to single anyone else. To be honest with you, I think they all deserve a mention.
Obviously, the back four you've mentioned. Paul Robinson was in fact the winner of our man of the match vote for the first leg. 44%, nearly 50% of the vote ahead of. It's interesting looking at the candidates because again it's Reeves, Fuller, and Akinfenwa for the first leg, along with Paul Robinson. In the second leg, it was Reeves, Fuller, Akinfenwa, but then Darius Charles, his centre back partner. Yeah, I think that tells you all you need to know, really. Callum Kennedy, as you say, coming in, set piece delivery as well, unbelievable from Callum. But as you say, it was squad effort. Saw a lot of the substitutes and players not involved in the matchday squad along the touchline during the game against Accrington. The celebrations as well after the goal. Now, we could see on the pitch how much it meant to the players, but behind the goal on Saturday when Tom Beer scored, it was a carnage. It was actually carnage behind the goal. Like, I know you're saying down the side at Accrington, I'll come back to that in a minute, but I can't remember a celebration like that in the Tempest end. The hardcore athletics end, as some of you might prefer to know it as in its original incarnation, but yeah, I can't think. Was Crawley when we scored the 2 goals to beat Crawley 2-1? That was madness. But I can't remember. Not even Fleetwood when we stayed up on the last day. To be honest with you, I suppose maybe that's because it's penalty, whatever it might be, whatever. But more relief than just joy. Just crazy.
Yeah, and I think let's be fair. It's a Saturday night at 7:30 kickoff. So we've got to say that you can understand why they didn't want Pompey Plymouth being that kickoff.
No, especially as that had the
So, there was a lot of people that had been having a drink and enjoying the day, and I think that helped, but I would say that was all down to drink because we have a lot of kids. Everybody's still kids.
They probably were.
Yeah, I just think it was just, do you know what, I think it's because you got a sub who you don't expect to be on the pitch, let alone scoring, last minute, Accrington's record, everyone knew Accrington's record, they knew they didn't see many goals, and I think everyone just saw it as such a relief and a key point in the game, and you could argue that Bayo's goal was key, or Lyle's goal was key. But you know what? Going up 1-up changed the whole dimension of that game, and it was always, I think, the Tom Beer goal in the end was a pivotal moment purely for the fact that it affected everyone's mindset, especially Accrington. Last night, 2-0 down in a fixture on the night, we get a goal back. Would we have got 2 back in normal time? Unlikely. But Tom's first goal in the first leg just gave us that little bit of protection that we needed.
Watching on TV then, celebrations, and you've mentioned it sort of being down the side. I can imagine having been down that side of the pitch at Accrington, it's cramped, to put it mildly. It's hard enough to sit down.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Celebrations, though, again, we obviously saw everyone on the pitch and everything like that. What was the atmosphere like? Coming across on TV, it's very difficult when you're the away team at Accrington because they don't have a roof on their terrace, so a lot of our noise would have gone out of the stadium and the microphone, wouldn't have picked it up as much. Accrington Stanley, oh my word, we have to win the playoffs because I'm not going back there next season. I'm not listening to them sing the same song over and over and over.
It was
and over and over. Oh my word! I wanted to take that drum that was helping them sing this song along. You know what I wanted to do with that drummer.
Yes.
Wow. What were our fans like?
The thing was, the game, the sound was really good actually. Yeah, I think a few people were worried that the sound was just going to go out, as an open terrace, but it didn't. From being at the game, you could hear the Wimbledon fans the whole way through. Of course, they were tense like the rest of us, going through a 2-0 down. To be fair, Accrington's didn't really change because you say the same song kept going on and on and on. But I think once Bayo scored, that was it. The whole momentum changed. The fan noise changed. They still sung that song. They didn't really change it, but they didn't sing it with the venom or the belief. It felt like it felt like the Bayo goal just totally changed the supporters' dynamics, really. I'll be truthful, I didn't celebrate Bale's goal because I just thought, oh no, that means we're still in the game. I'm not saying you resign yourself to defeat, but sometimes in a game, it's easier to resign yourself to defeat rather than it's the hope. It's the hope that kills you.
It is
sometimes.
the hope that kills you. Yeah.
And I was sitting just in front of Chris Stewart, and he kept laughing. Chris was the most calmest person I know. He was really smiling, kept laughing every time I made him. I wasn't swearing because there was kids around where we were, and I respect where I sit. So I refrained my language, but used other words, and he was laughing away. And when Barrow scored, and then when we got the second goal through Lyle Taylor, I was pacing up and down just behind his seat. And I said to him, "It's a hope that kills you here." I said, "I don't want to get too excited. Playoffs play havoc with your mindset. They're horrible."
You've done well, to be fair, to look at it so objectively at that point. I'll tell you why. I was quite happy celebrating Bale's goal because I could not see us getting back into the game. I couldn't see us scoring at that point.
Well, when Lyle scored, I actually thought that had been disallowed or didn't go in.
Yeah, we had exactly... Even watching on TV, that was the reaction.
Because it was quite dark down at end. It wasn't like no lights had gone out after that, but it was very dark. And to be fair, Lorraine, my fiancée, was quite funny because when she saw Jake did a shot, and she didn't see anyone alongside Jake, so she pulled a hoodie over her eyes, her face. I can't believe we missed it, and didn't realise Lyle scored. And then we couldn't find where Lyle had gone because he'd been running along the touchline.
Even in our fluorescent kit. Wow.
But it was. I don't know whether it's just your mind playing tricks. You want to, you know me. I looked for the linesman first. Has he disallowed it? Has he seen something that no one else has seen?
Yeah.
Then I couldn't see the ball in the back of the net. Then I couldn't see Lyle. But I could still hear people cheering. So I'm like, well, they must know. But then they're at the other end, so maybe they've not seen what I've seen.
It's watching on TV as well. You can't judge crowd reactions. So, like, if you saw the crowd reacting, you'd know, like, because you can't see the linesman as well, obviously, thinking the flag had gone up. But also, I think part of it was the finish. In the end, Lyle's finish was almost so simple and so easy.
Yeah.
You were kind of like, that can't just be it. That was just like... But, yeah, so there was that momentary pause where you're just like, please let that has counted. And then you realise Lyle's running away. Happens anything. What a great foul by Jake Reeves that I didn't spot to begin with. To just when his shot saved, he just thinks, right, just pin the defender down then. He's not getting to get a block in. Smart. That's very smart.
It's momentum, isn't it? Whether that defender was slid in and got up to get Lyle is debatable, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Yes, he did hold him down. I just think it also shows, Neil Hardy talked about fitness. And I think it just shows, Jake would run all day. And we probably still, Jake probably played 2 of those games easily. Very, very fit young guy. But the amazing thing was that Lyle still made that run to support him that late on into extra time. He made a lot of runs that, he sacrificed himself to make those runs, to make the extra man. I know people say, over 2 legs he didn't put it in as much as we expect. But I think he played a massive part, not just because he scored a goal, but because he always had their defenders on the edge. Lyle is a player, gets a shot, gets a chance to score. And for him to be the one in that position to wrap it up was not a surprise, but he didn't have to be there. He had been chasing all game.
Yeah, and also helping out, getting back into a position where you need to sort of press and do the defensive work as well.
Yeah.
Tile Layla, if that's what he's just saying. The floodlights at Accrington obviously failed. Didn't make much difference to me, to be honest with you. They're probably the worst or lowest floodlights in the Football League, although Neil Hardy did make a great reference about ours as well being particularly low.
Yeah.
How much of a stitch-up did you feel like it was going to be? Like, you were texting me, actually, weren't you, last night, sort of trying to get any information from Sky, and I was texting you back thinking, they're going to stitch us up, they're going to stitch us up, they're going to stitch us up. Fair enough, it didn't happen in the end. We sort of were a bit paranoid on that one, but it was awfully coincidental, it seemed.
Well, yeah, because the ones went out, didn't they? And I remember, I sort of leant forward and looked over the stand, and you could see the second lot that eventually went was still on. So you think, okay, we can probably play with that. But even though, Neil Hardy was quite funny, he said, both teams wanted to play, they could still play that light. It was dark. It was dark. I would not have fancied a ball coming in from that angle, because all Accrington would have done if we had supposedly played with that light. All you got to do is knock the ball into the channel right hand side and knock the ball in, because you got the ball coming in from dark to light. And Roos would not have seen, would not have picked up the flight of the ball. It was dark, so you couldn't play without him coming back on. But yeah, I just think it just added to the horrible thing, because there's only for the fact that someone near me had been, timing when we started, and he said there's about 7 minutes to go, and we're like, okay, it's not too long. And I thought, we can knock it into quarters a couple of times, I'm sure. The 7 minutes isn't long. The 7 minutes just sounds horrible when you're thinking you've got to kill the game off. Do you know what I mean? So
a few people mentioning as well that it was however many minutes left plus whatever many stoppage minutes. Well, fortunately, that wasn't the case. It was a case of the clock stopped at like 23 minutes or whatever. We knew that we only had those 7 minutes to play. That made it a little bit more bearable. And as you say, when we started getting into the corners and everything, I think we were all fine. I can't really think of any chances that made me particularly nervous. Just that, only that foreboding sense that this game had absolutely everything up until that point, and the only thing it would need would be a penalty shootout. That was the only thing I thought, they'll get a fluky goal.
The thing is, I don't know if you watch it back, the extra time did probably show that they were knackered.
Shattered,
Because I think what gave me confidence, we started again the 7 minutes to play, and I think in midfield there was a ball that they would have probably knocked wide, and in the end he just knocked it up in the air and skied it. And then there was a weak header, and it just felt that all of a sudden the tempo and the strength that they had gone. And to be honest with you, once we restarted the 7 minutes, I knew the game was over. I thought we'd probably go and get a third. If I'm being truthful, we probably should have.
Should have, yes.
Picked out. And Tom probably when he went through could have been a bit more. But he probably thought, I'm going to Wembley in a couple of weeks. You're not. I'm going to back out of the challenge, And but the tempo. There's no way they could play that tempo for 90 minutes at full whack, let alone going for 120.
No chance.
John Green here. Thanks for listening to today's show, and don't forget to be awesome.
Other bits and pieces then over the couple of games we'll touch on. First of all, watching the game live on Sky. My word. I wanted to throw my TV out the window at certain points. How do you say our goalkeeper's name, Stu?
Roos.
Yeah. What's his full name? First name, surname?
Kelly Roos.
Yeah. Not Kel Rose.
Kel
Rose. Kel Rose, it sounds like an old American TV sitcom type drama series. Kel Rose. Anyway, very, very irritating. There was another one that the Sky commentators seemed to struggle with. They did come out, though, to be fair. Well, sorry, how can I forget? We had a bit of fun with this on the weekend. The statistic on the first leg, where we had now gone, apparently, according to Sky, 10 hours and 59 minutes without conceding a goal. Which ignored.
They forgot the stat in the second leg.
Yeah, when they suddenly realised that they were actually talking nonsense. So we had a bit of fun with that on Twitter, making up statistics from Sky Sports, who hadn't done their research properly. Never mind. But otherwise, the commentator came up with a great line at the end of the night. To be fair, it was a fantastic line. I mentioned it on social media, and I'm just going to have a quick recap of it. He said on the final whistle that Wimbledon had everything taken away from them. They started again on park pitches, and now they walk out on the greatest pitch of all, Wembley, exactly where their forefathers made history. They will walk in the footsteps of Wimbledon legends. If you weren't excited about getting to Wembley before, that line is a powerful line.
Yeah, do you know what? I watched it. I probably was tired also this morning, but there were tears last night. There was tears of joy and happiness, and you can tell a lot of people were just like, wow, this is really happening. But I come back and I tell you what, I was really tearful listening to that line, or them lines. I thought it was very, very emotive what he said then. But also the interviews at the game, at the end of the game, how good were the interviews from Bayo filling time in for Lyles? If Bayo needs any encouragement to fill time in for Lyles. And then Nilani, but there were such powerful words that they used. And you just really, they get it. There's something, we all know something happened, don't we, around Christmas. But as if someone, went back to basics and went, these are what these fans went through. You've got to now start playing as if you understand that. Because they do now, like the pitch invasion. It's funny, Sky noticed it, didn't they? They said, not one of the players run towards the tunnel. All you had was, I was near Aziz when he was doing his massive selfie. It was just the funniest thing ever. You got literally people running behind Aziz with a camera in front of him. And Aziz is singing something, I don't know what he was singing. And then on the other side, you've literally got Lyle Taylor having a selfie and a picture with anybody. It was just, and I think that won us a lot of admirers because we didn't do what every other team does, run off. We actually went, no, you know what? We're going to celebrate with you. And they did. And like I say, I hung around at the end of the game. And to be fair, I did say to Jake Reeves that I needed to reopen the Goal of the Season Awards. Because of him, which he found really funny. He said, well, if I scored that, could that have been next season's Goal of the Season already?
Yeah, yes.
So yeah, but they were, at the end of the game, when Callum Kennedy come over and he was like, "Did we all enjoy that? We told you it'd be a roller coaster. The fun zone just started." And then laughing to himself and getting on the coach. Just funny as anything it was.
No, there are no nerves from us. You didn't witness any nerves, did you, from any player?
No, nothing. Lyle's a great. Lyle is an absolute gentleman. And one player that I would be absolutely gutted if we lost would be Lyle now. I must admit, he speaks so well, but he genuinely, he come over and his first thing he said was, "I bet you lot can't wait to go to Wembley." He didn't worry about his own. It wasn't about I'm going to Wembley. It was just about everyone else, and that's exactly what he's doing. So no nerves. No, I didn't see any nerves. Neil Hardy had to change his top because he'd been soaked on the interview. But yeah, no general nerves. They all look tired, and all look tired. To be fair, Simon Bassey looked tired. Neil Hardy shook hands with a lot of people, and generally was happy. But I think they were just. I think they were shattered from what we were. We were all, it was a long evening, if you look at Neil Hardy, his eyes look very red. Yeah, even for the first half, he played, didn't they?
Yeah, it did seem to be, especially at the end though, he did seem to be, there were moments when you're talking about what he's saying and the interviews he's saying, he seemed to be welling up a little bit, but emotionally draining for everyone involved, and it probably explains the way they were at the end of the game.
How good is it going to be seeing Neil Hardy leading out on Wimbledon and seeing Wembley?
Yes, it gives you goosebumps when you have to take those moments when you just think about, and I have pictured this moment in my head, our players going out into front of Wembley, and we'll talk about this again in a minute. It does give you that sort of goosebumps feeling.
But it's when he said, I know, it's just when he said, "I'm going to lead my team out of Wembley," not Wimbledon. It's his team, and I know what he means by that because he's a fan. He's a fan as much as the rest of us. And there's something.
There's going to be some fans though that are listening. I'll tell you what, if he'd have said that, he wasn't a player, some fans would be going, yeah.
But do you know what? There's been today. Obviously, tickets have been released and so forth like that. There's a lot of neutrals that will be going to this final because it's a Wembley. It's London.
It's going to kill the atmosphere, Stu. All these day trippers.
Yeah, and do you know what? I go to Wembley sometimes watching England. I get fed up with that, but I'm not going to moan one bit. The only gutting thing is, if I'm being totally pragmatic and probably being a bit boring, it's just such a shame that we can't really attract any more neutrals because we have no more room left at home grounds. Yeah,
that is exactly true. There's no empty spaces in our stadium.
That's a shame because you may attract. We could go to Wembley and win. Please God, we win, and then we're in League One and we've got no more spaces. So, but hey, that's the downside. There's a lot more positives, crikey.
Yeah, one sort of minor potential negative, which we'll just sort of touch on now as we're talking about tickets, is the Tempest Kenflo Athletics End terrace on the first leg, during the first leg, where clearly we were over capacity in there. We really were. It was where we were stood was fine, actually, wasn't it? We were. Yeah. It was busy. It's been worse, actually, to be fair. There has been occasions where it has been uncomfortable where we are because there are people obviously getting in without tickets for that end. We are over capacity. And it's something the club are going to really struggle with next season, I think, especially in League One.
Yeah.
If we can't find a way to prevent this. I'm not sure the option of going into the athletic stadium and round the back, that's not on. Okay, that doesn't work as it used to because of the changes that have been made to the John Smith / Your Golf Trouble stand. We do have to find a way of fixing this, though, because there was an incident when we scored which could have been a lot more serious for a young fan.
Yeah.
And we have to be very careful, don't we? It could affect our sort of... We could have, what's the word I'm looking for, sanctions placed upon us should an incident happen because we are, well, technically, we're over capacity, that's bad enough as it is. I'm not sure if there's a solution to it at the moment, though.
There's a couple of ways of looking at it, isn't it? One, safety, massively. Two, people, this isn't just happening on one game. This has happened throughout the season.
Oh, it's been going for years. To be fair,
you've got the argument that France say, and it doesn't bother me. I'll be truthful because I'm going to go anyway. But you and I are probably paying £50 more than someone near us going in the same stand because they paid for the Go Travel stand. Is it
Your Golf Travel stand?
Travel. Yeah, sorry. So there's that sort of cost from it. So actually, people are getting something they're not paying for. It's difficult to stop it because I went to the the Academy Day at the club on Sunday and chatting to one of the chief stewards who was there just stewarding for the event. And he said it's so difficult to police it or to steward it because you got one end, because you obviously got to walk past the Ken flow to get to the other stand. At any point, they can go underneath the barriers. You can't put stewards the whole way along it because that's crazy. You put enough alongside it, but then all it takes is that person to the front as you come in to get distracted looking at someone's ticket, and then someone's gone underneath it and you can't see it. He made a suggestion about putting some metal, putting metal at the front.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one of his suggestions, but of course it's safety, that sort of access and stuff like that. But I don't think there's nothing you can do, if I'm being truthful.
Hold on, Stu. Hold on. You don't think there's nothing you can... Do you mean there's nothing you think... There's nothing you think we can do, surely?
That's the word. The word.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do. It depends what the club want to do. If we get a go-ahead for Plough Lane, do we spend money on exits that are only going to benefit Chelsea when they go there?
Yeah, exactly.
Who may not need it.
Don't want to do that.
No, exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's a difficult one, isn't it? And the thing is, the atmosphere is really good. Yes, I suppose we don't get many people standing like that near us because we normally kick them if they do, because we don't want near us. But you did see, I watched a rerun of the first leg, and you saw not just a goal, but during parts of the game where it was just swaying, where people were being taken along. And whilst when you're younger, it's quite fun. Yeah, we can't have anyone being injured because of it.
Yeah, exactly. Could have other consequences. Right, I think we've probably spoken enough about the two leg of the semi-final. We'll come on to Plymouth in a minute. Let's knock out, pardon the phrase, some regular features.
Sorry.
We've knocked out... Oh, I see what you've done there. I was thinking something else. Anyway, let's run through these birthdays very, very quickly, Stu.
It's time for the birthdays game here on the 9 Years podcast.
Jerry Armstrong, Sky Pundit, former Northern Ireland international, celebrating his birthday this week. Have a guess. How old do you think he is?
Oh, he's quite old, isn't he? Because he played in the '82 World Cup, where he must have been. Was he a young sensation? Yeah, because that's where he made his name, didn't he? Because he went to Spain after that. So I reckon he was probably 20. So that was '82. He must be kind of 60. I reckon about 59.
I'm having to do my maths, but I think 46, 56, 62.
I wasn't far wrong.
Not far wrong. 62 years of age. How about, I have to call this person professional wrestler, but former professional wrestler sadly now, because he's had to recently retire due to a number of health issues. It is Daniel Bryan. Yes. It is Daniel Bryan.
He's had to retire. That must give me some sort of clue.
No. He's had to retire. Early, yeah, he's had to retire very early.
Very early. Oh, very early. I reckon he's no later than 32.
Oh, okay. He will be turning 35. All right. That is very early in wrestling terms. They wrestle till they're about 80.
Well, yeah. I'm not surprised when they have such a low impact sport.
Okay. Well, let's not put that thread. Don't get me started. All right. More injuries in this high impact athletic contest. Well, contest, all right. Performance than many professional actual sports. And finally, one for you, because I know you like this person. I don't know that at all, actually. I'm just winding you up. But anyway, Katie Price, always known as the country of Jordan.
There's a play of words, isn't it?
That's a big country.
Now, when you think, I thought you were going to say Katy Perry for me. I was like, I like Katy Perry. Katie Price, no, she's a bit of a does my boxing. But she's getting on a bit, doesn't she? She's been in the public eye for ages. So she's got to be at least 40, 42.
38. Never mind.
Really?
Yep.
She looks older.
She looks, whatever she looks like, she doesn't, I don't know how you can judge her age. She's had so much work done. But anyway. There you go.
You can after a while. Certain times people just, looks can be monitored, looks can be enhanced, but eventually you start looking how old you are.
I'm really smug here and say, no you don't. I'm still 24. Right, do you have any stickers to open? I've got a couple packets, don't worry if you don't.
1 second, I think I had some in my bag because I was going to, on my journey, because I travelled up the day before, I was going to open them, but then I just got so sidetracked.
We're just gonna keep going, Stu, keep recording. Whilst you do that, whilst Stu's sorting himself out with stickers, you can hear me unwrapping.
Oh yeah, I found them.
I've got 2 packets. Oh, Stu!
What?
I've got Wayne Rooney.
Have you?
First one out.
Wow. Be careful. Get some cotton wool. wrap him up in it.
I will do. That's quite a good packet I've got here. Wayne Rooney, Sergio Busquets, Seamus Coleman.
Got biscuits as well.
Biscuits as well, yeah. Rooney Biscuits. Let's try and say their names, Stu, if you swap their initials around. So we've got Rain Rooney, Sergio Busquets.
Right, one second. Just you can probably. I'll open up my ones out.
Camus Soulman.
He's a soul man.
Exactly.
Right,
And
I've got
others, Albanians.
I've got Adam Nagy. Wow.
Okay, I've got him the other day because I used to know someone who had that surname. It's pronounced
Really?
Naj, I think, yeah.
I know a lot of ladies are quite naggy, but anyway,
As well.
I've got a split, the sticker that's got 2 players on it. I've got Jonathan Williams and Joe Ledley.
Ooh.
I've got Erkan Zegin from Sweden. Marco
Erkan
Verratti.
What? Okay. What was his name?
Erkan Zegin.
Oh, Zegins.
Zegin. From Sweden. Actually, no, he's Turkish. Oh, no, sorry, he plays in Turkey. He's Swedish.
Right, okay.
The yellow kit gave it away, Stu.
Yeah, never mind.
Marco Verratti.
Bless you.
And Urgis Case.
Oh, that's freaky. I got him as well.
Who's
in that package just now. The Albanian, yeah. Urgis Case.
Okay, I've got one more, because that was rubbish. I need to
you, you go again. I've got one more as well.
By the way, I've had a lot of good feedback about our sticker game.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot of people. And to be fair, just while we're talking about that, it's really encouraging. Last night, I went onto the pitch. Actually, before the game, I got a few people come up to me and go, "Oh, you're Stu, you did a podcast." I'm like, "Yes, I am. Thank you very much." Not my head now.
Did they comment how much you look like Ray Wilkins?
No, they haven't yet.
Oh, right, okay.
They've not said I play like a crap. I was
going to say, you were sort of shuffling sideways from side to side at the time.
Yeah. But really encouraging, I don't know if we did some bootlegs, some podcasts, apologies on one of them, the sound wasn't great. I think we know why that was, but we did some others that sounds really good.
You were quite windy on one, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to try and do that at Wembley. I won't lie. That's something we're definitely going to try and do. But the good thing was I went onto the pitch and I had 3 people come up to me and went, "Stu, podcast, great podcast, thank you," and gave me a cuddle and then walked off. And I'm just like, thank you for the feedback. That, believe it or not, we don't do it at all for any recognition, but it is nice that we get some really good feedback. So again, thank you very much. And we would accept feedback if you want to do that in terms of drinks and stuff like that, if you want to be more generous. How you joking?
I like things like wrestling t-shirts, books, chocolates, diabetic, that doesn't matter.
Right, so you got your pack there?
I have my other packet there, yeah. Here, sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
We do thank you, by the way, as Stu's saying there, we do thank you very much for listening and all the feedback you give us. And the listening numbers these last few weeks they've skyrocketed, haven't they? I think, obviously, it helps that we're being successful on the pitch, but really, we're going through the roof at the moment, so thank you very much if you've just started listening as well.
What this week, for 500 were we this week?
More than that, yeah. More than that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, massive. What isn't massive is this rubbish packet of stickers I've got with these rubbish players that I've never heard of. So, I'm not even going to announce who they are.
Okay, I've got the old 2 players on 1 sticker. I've got Martin Skirtle and Jan Jurica. His name is. I've got Cerna, the Czech Republic guy. I've got again a split one with Sergio Ramos and Gerard Piqué.
Nice.
Another split one, which is the Northern Ireland, which is Michael McGovern and Conor McLaughlin.
What would happen if you changed Michael McGovern's initials round? What would he become?
Initials?
Yeah.
Still, what? Michael McLaughlin. No, McGovern.
Did you actually answer me that question, Stu?
Oh, that was confusing.
Oh,
anyway,
my word. Not really.
It was. It's late.
What happens if you change Michael McGovern's initials around? I think it would be Michael McGovern.
They're still. It's because I got Scott. I just mentioned put 2 players together and gave them a new name.
All right, brilliant.
And I got one of those stickers. They're not legend ones, but I think they're the star player of.
Oh yeah.
And I've got Arja Turan, the Barcelona Turkish.
Yeah, I had Turan as well, isn't he? As I told you at the time, he's like a Volkswagen estate car, isn't he? With Turan, but never mind.
I don't get any better, do they?
No shinies this week again. Do you know what, Stu? In all my packets, I've only had 2 shinies, honestly, and the second time I got a shiny, it was a swap. So yeah, not impressed. Need more shinies.
By the way, we've had a few people approach us, knowing that we do Panini stickers and asking for swaps. Thank you very much for that. Nick and I will sort our lives out and look at what swaps we've got and put them on our official feed. Nick.
our official feed.
Well, official feed, that I call it, our Facebook and Twitter. We'll probably put our sponsors on there.
Yeah, we'll sort that out on the weekend.
We'll sort it out because, of course, the European Championships are approaching very quickly. However, our season has not finished yet. How mad is that? Our season has not finished yet, Nick.
We are inflicting more podcasts on the world because we've got to the playoff final. We were going to wrap up this week.
The season finishes. How unbelievable is that?
It does sound good, actually, to be fair. And on that note, we did say we were going to look ahead to the Plymouth game, but of course we have got another podcast to go before we get to the big day on May 30th. Very, very quickly, what I'll do, Stuart, I'm going to ask you 3 quick-fire questions about the final, okay?
Yep.
Things we've touched on before. So, number 1, Jonathan Meades is fit. Does he go straight back in?
No.
Ooh. Okay.
Goes as a sub. I did say to Meades last night, sorry the name drop, but I did say to Meades last night that him and, as I said, you're a massive part of this. And he gave me a massive hug.
Oh, wow.
He probably just tried to shut me up, probably, to be fair.
You sure it wasn't his twin? That stunned you. That stunned you into silence.
Was that so? I didn't quite catch that.
I said, you sure it wasn't his twin?
I don't know. If it was his twin, before he tried to give me a medical examination.
Oh, I see, because he's a doctor, right. Okay.
He's a doctor, yeah, that's a really bad joke.
I see where you're going with that one. Right, yeah. Okay, moving on. We sort of mentioned this one before, but who starts up front?
Tom Elliott and Lyle Taylor. Yeah, I don't think Aziz is a starter, and Bayo, I don't think can run the whole 90, possibly 120 minutes at Wembley.
Lyle Taylor's hamstrings are okay at the time of recording.
Yeah, I think Lyle's had that problem, as he said. He's had that for weeks and weeks and weeks. He's always been doing that. It's because he runs himself into the ground, doesn't leave anything on the pitch, and he'll play. You won't get Lyle not playing. There's no way. And
an attendance prediction.
Oh, what, in total? Or just like for the whole...
in total, but you can divide that into the pair. We've got a starting allocation of 21,000, roughly.
Yeah, 21,000. So the rumour is that Plymouth have sold 27 and potentially have got another batch up to 35,000. So you're probably looking at surpassing what Southend and Wickham got last year. So I reckon you're probably looking close to about 60,000, 65, I reckon, for our League 2 final. It's quite mad. And we have no fans, do we, Nick? So
no, we have no fans whatsoever. We have nothing to offer anyone. That's why the club had to be stolen and taken away from us, wasn't it? Obviously, of course. Can't get a stadium back into Wimbledon. Don't have enough supporters to support a Football League club. Not in the wider interest of football. Well, I almost
how many times is that quote going to be reminded to the FA when they're? Yeah. Is it? Obviously, to be fair, it's a Sky Bet competition, is it? But the FA sanctioned the league. How much do you think the FA are going to get a throw back in their face this coming week?
Massively.
It's the comment they make just makes comical reading the more we achieve. It's great.
We will be next week previewing the game in more detail, but also in the build-up, we'll have a number of shows putting together as we approach Wembley, and then Stuart's touched on there, we'll be producing some things and bits and pieces on the day itself. It's going to be probably an early start, I imagine, for the pair of us on Bank Holiday Monday, isn't it, Stu? But worth it. So keep an eye out on all our social media accounts for all of those. At 9YRS Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Periscope, everything. And please make sure, if you are listening to us on iTunes, lots and lots of feedback that you've given us in person, can you whack a 5-star rating on our iTunes profile? So that'd be really handy. Thank you very much. Stu, is there anything you'd like to add before we disappear for this week?
Yeah, just 2 things I was going to say. Obviously, this will be coming out Friday morning, so be aware that season holders, I think Don Trust members, have until midday before it goes on general sale. So if you haven't gone onto the website yet and activated, it's quite straightforward. You can pick where you want to sit. And there's singing areas, which I find funny, at Wembley. But yeah, get yourself on that. And yeah, just really for next week, we've had an unbelievable intake of new followers on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook accounts. Thank you very much. We had to get them going. They'll be full of stuff this week and also on the match day. And we're hoping, we're not going to promise, but we're hoping we sorted out some nice, good, exciting interviews for our preview, which will be next week.
Sadly, I've not heard back from Paige yet, so she won't be joining us. Never mind.
I'm sure we can find someone else to replace her.
I don't know if we can, Stu.
Lucky I'd book someone else out. Sorry.
Wow. Ouch.
Wow.
Oh. Jeez.
Starting at home, right?
Yeah, that is actually a finish.
That sounded wrong. Anyway,
yeah. Well, doesn't sound bad to me, to be fair. But anyway, moving on. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure, as Stu said, make sure you get your tickets for Wembley. You can do it. If you're Don's Trust members, season ticket holders, whatever, you can book in individually 9 tickets, I think, on your membership. Combine that with someone else, you can get 20 on there. I think we'll probably have to ask for a few more tickets than that 21,000. I think we'll end up in that region, 60, 65,000. Stu, it's going to be a great occasion, but we'll talk more about that next week. For this week, thank you very much for listening. I'm sure you enjoyed our look back over the Accrington semi-final, reminiscing about those. And I guess the only thing left to say, Stu, is that we'll see you at Wembley.
Can't wait.
We'll see you then.